Alright, so I was gonna shoot this video outside, but it's bright, it's overcast bright, and I was just like this, looking at my phone, trying to explain what happened to my knee, and it just wasn't working. So, yeah, if you could tell by the title, this is about what happened to my knee, how skateboarding really messed up my knee. It's not all from skateboarding, and this is a video I wanted to make because I told myself if I might start making YouTube videos, I'm definitely gonna get more personal, and this is like a baby step into getting uh, personal about like my personal life and what's really going on with me. So my knee I've had surgery on it just once. I thought it was twice, but it stems from an injury that didn't happen from skateboarding. So it was, I don't know what time it was, but I wasn't skating at the time. I was into a lot more worse things, a lot of things that aren't good for you, and was not in the right state of mind and felt like I could make this one jump. And it was about like off like a tennis court high fence. And I did it, I made the jump and didn't really feel pain instantly, but when I got up, the it felt like the bottom of my shoe, like the sole had came off and was like over to the side a little bit. So when I was walking, it was like that. And I'm like, man, I think I like busted out the shoe. And I looked at the shoe and it was, it's funny. They're a pair of Nike SBs too, but like the casual Nike SBs that they put out at some time. They looked like running shoes. But yeah, so I looked at the shoe and nothing was wrong with it. And I was like, that's odd. And then all of a sudden I couldn't walk and I was like, couldn't stand up without it just being crazy pain. Like all the pain started kicking in. So, and I was by myself at the time, which was even more just makes you realize like how, like what state of mind I was in. Um, so I ended up having to call the ambulance and they came and picked me up, and what actually happened was I fractured my calcaneus or my heel. So I fractured like the heel bone. Um, it had a bunch of fractures in it. It was crazy. I ended up staying in the hospital for, because it happened on a Friday night and the surgeon wasn't going to be there till like Monday or Tuesday or something. And I did it to both feet. My right one wasn't as bad as my left. Uh, So I had surgery in both, but the left was definitely took the more damage. And that's the leg that my knee is messed up on. So because of that surgery, I didn't have that good of dorsiflexion and like uh, flexibility in my ankle as good as like it normally was. So with that being said, fast forward like 5 years later, down or like 4 years later down the road, I decide I want to start skating again. And, like I said, I wasn't in the right state of mind during this whole time. Um, that movie, mid 90s, had came out and really inspired me. I really wanted to start skating again. Like a lot of stuff from that movie just really brought back like memories of nostalgia and good times and like times where I was really enjoying life. So I was like, man, I want to like switch things up. And one thing I want to do is start skating again because that was something that was so fun to me as a kid. I need to do it again. So got a skateboard. Uh, Finally decided to take it out, and I went to a prefabricated park, and I hate prefabricated parks. Every time I go to a prefab park, I twist an ankle or I take a hard slam or something to where I'm messed up. And right on trend, this happened with my knee. So I was dating someone at the time. They were there with me because it was kind of like we went somewhere, and on the way back home, there was a skate park that I wanted to stop at and just skate a little bit. So I'm there, I'm trying to skate, not really doing so good. I'm like really out of shape, just like kind of no strength, and like my ankle is like weird from that injury prior because I basically like from that injury I had to relearn how to walk again because it was both feet. I had to relearn how to walk again in a pool and go through physical therapy, and like physical therapy, like when you're like, I didn't have insurance. I was like on like state funded insurance. Like it was it was all bad. Like they don't get you to a point to where like you're strong and like, you know, you can go back and return to sport, as like sports rehab would say. They just get you up and walk in so that you can go to work. Like they don't care if you could jump or run or sprint. If you can get up and walk and you can go to work every day, that's all they care about. So that's kind of like how I was, and I didn't really realize that at the time. So my ankle is just not feeling so hot, but I'm still trying anyway. And what had happened was I was skating, I was getting sweaty, and I started to stink. And I was like, okay, this is probably that time to go home. So I tell the girl I'm dating at the time, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to leave. I'm starting to stink. Like, let's get up out of here. So she gets up and she starts walking towards the car. And I was like 50 in the ledge, no sliding the ledge. And I was like pretty warmed up and like good to go. And I was like, okay. And it was like March at the time, like spring, you know, weather's just starting to turn. And I didn't have wax on me. I wasn't thinking at all. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go no slide that whole ledge. And it's like a prefab ledge. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go no slide the whole thing. So I got the confidence. I was like at the other side of the park too. And like, I just circle all the way around and come all the way around. And then boom, I'm like at a good, nice speed, ready to no slide this whole ledge. Boom, stick in, go onto it, get on, instantly stick and shoot forward, land on all my weight on my one foot with my bad ankle and my knee. I just feel it go poof, and it just like pops. And it feels like it's like this, and then it presses down and goes back up. So I lay on the ground and I'm like, ooh, like, dang, that hurt. I thought I might have like popped it out and it popped back in. And was thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. You know, I bent it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I was like, oh, it kind of hurts to walk and like whatever. But like, I think I'll be all right. So we get in the car and I start driving and I'm like, dang, this thing's really hurting. And I'm like sweating and like, I can't stop sweating. Finally, I talked to the girl I'm dating and she's like, yeah, like I'll drive home. So I go home and it's like Sunday and I'm like, dang, I don't know. I hope I can go to work in the morning. And I go home, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and there's like a big bubble on the top, like above my kneecap. And I can't bend my knee. And I'm like, it's just straight. So I'm like, okay. I didn't have insurance at the time. I was working, making okay money, but I did not have insurance. I was like so scared. So I went to like urgent care and they did an x-ray and they're like, yeah, you need to go get a MRI on your knee. And I was like, okay. Was just like thinking like, okay, there's more money that I don't have to go do something. So I go get the MRI and they're like, yeah, you tore your meniscus and you need surgery. So that sucked because like I said, I was working at the time and like I was going through these like life changes. Like I was trying to change up my life, trying to stop using substances and alcohol, like trying to do better, trying to do work a job. I was living with that girlfriend at the time and things were rocky with us. So like that kind of blew the top off the whole situation. I ended up, you know, moving back in with my mom because we actually like split like that blew the top off. We split up. She was not gonna stick around, take care of me while I'm sitting there with the bum knee not working and her having to pay all the bills and all that shit. She was just not having it. So we like ended up breaking up. It was like a little traumatic. It was more than just like a knee injury. It was like, okay, like my whole life is fucked. And it's like I was trying to do something like better. So I remember had to put all my stuff in storage. Like my family came, we put all my stuff in storage, and the skateboard was in there. And I'm like, damn. So like 3 or 4 months later, I start cleaning out that storage, and I go in there and start taking some stuff out, and then there's my skateboard. And I didn't plan on skating ever again. I was like, wow, I'm stupid for doing that. But the doctor had told me, they were like, yeah, like 3 months until you walk again, maybe like 5, 6 months until you can skate again. And I was like, skate again? He's like, yeah, you'll be able to skate again. And I didn't think about it, but I saw my skateboard there and I just started rolling around on it when I was able to start walking again. And I was like, dang, like, man, maybe I can really skate again. So I ended up being able to skate again, started skating again. Had like a lot of issues with that. I had to like work out, do a lot of physical therapy, and I still do physical therapy today. Still do like these workouts to kind of help my knee. And the injuries don't really stop there. So with my ankle still being messed up and now my knee, like from that surgery, I ended up losing a lot of muscle in my thigh. Um, Compared to the other one, it's like 70-80% of like muscle compared to the other one. Like it could tell, like you can't tell just looking at it, just glancing at it, but if I point it out and you can like really have you look at it, you can tell like, oh yeah, like the atrophy in my muscle just like stayed. I could not, everything I did to try and like get it back, it's not getting back. It can get just as strong, but it's not going to be as big. So like some flexibility issues come in with that. So I kept skating. Oh, I need some coffee. So I kept skating. Things were going good. Like by me being and like doing my own physical therapy, I kind of looked up a lot what to do with like coming back from an injury. Like, because like I said, physical therapists don't help you with running and sprinting and sports. Like you have to go to a sports therapist for that. And like, that's a lot of money. I just went to the regular physical therapy place. So I'm doing all that, doing what I can, and still skating, and not really like having issues, but nothing crazy. Like I was wearing a knee brace at the time. Um, Getting back to it, I wasn't jumping down anything. I was skating really low ledges, really low mani pads, like nothing wild. Um, but what ended up happening was I I bought like I think I was unemployed at the time. I had a job and was working, but we all got laid off. So I was unemployed and on unemployment. So all my bills were getting paid, but I had a lot of free time. And in that free time, I was skating and skating a lot. So it was like wintertime too. I bought like a month pass to the indoor skate park, and I was just stupid. I was skating a lot and not warming up properly, because that's something that I have to do. That I have to do some stretches at home, and then when I get there, I have to warm up really, really slow, like 15-20 minutes at least, if not a full half an hour of warming up, of just rolling around, barely popping my board, doing some shove-its, doing some power slides to get that blood start flowing. Because what had happened was, with my ankle not being able to flex up and down, and now my knee having that issue, my tendon ended up wearing away. So my knee is taking so that's like how I tore my meniscus, is because when I hit on the ground, my ankle wasn't able to flex up like this. So when I hit the ground, my ankle's not able to flex up. That's what ended up making my knee collapse. All the pressure from that, me just landing on my one foot, made my knee, buckle, and it tore my meniscus. So that's still an issue. I still can't bend my ankle that well. And my knee ends up taking all the blow when I'm skating. So if I'm skating really low stuff, it's not that big an issue. But if I'm skating often, you know, what ends up happening is I get patellar tendinopathy. It used to be called tendonitis, but it just starts wearing away at my tendon. So that ended up happening when I was skating a lot during the winter, when I just didn't have much else to do. So I ended up like having to take like a month off of like no skating at all, because it was like it came on quick, and it came on like kind of like out of nowhere. And all of a sudden it was like, okay, I was skating good, because when you're unemployed and you're skating and skating often, you skate like the best you ever skate. Like that's just how it is. I don't know, like you just have so much time to recover. You have that's all you're doing. All your physical energy is just going to skating. So you're not working, you're not like, you don't have to do all this other shit. You can just chill, skate, you know, and be unemployed. It kind of sucks. You don't have much money if you need a new board or new shoes and stuff, but you make it work. So it came on kind of quick and like out of nowhere. And I thought it was just like, oh, I had a bum knee for a day, or like, oh, I just needed to take a break. But then, sure enough, every time I came back, boom, within like 10 minutes of skating and I start popping, my knee is just on fire. And it's like right below my kneecap, that tendon right underneath your kneecap, just boom, it's on fire. So I basically had to do a bunch of research and look up what was going on with me, because no one could really help me out. They all just kept saying, oh, it's patellar tendonitis, ice it and rest and elevate it and it will heal. But your tendons don't get much blood flow. Our tendons don't get much blood flow. So when they start degenerating and start breaking down, they're not going to heal. A muscle has a bunch of blood flow, so it can heal really quick. But a tendon doesn't. You have to basically pump it full of blood in order to heal it. So that's basically what I had to do with my knee. And I still do it to this day, and still do some, some physical like exercise workouts to help my thigh muscle and to help my knee. And I still have to do them to this day. And I'm a little scared on what the future is going to be like about my knee. When I get older, like really old, so many people have told me like, oh, I'll need a knee replacement, and I really don't want a knee replacement when I get older, because anyone who's ever got one is telling me not to get one, but everybody is also saying that I'll have to get one. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully, by the time I'm that age, there will be something invented to, cure all these joint and like tendon and muscle issues that all old people get, that, I don't know, stem cells or whatever. There's just some technology that comes out that kind of rids all those pains, and like, it like helps us have better joints and like be out of pain. But yeah, so that is how skateboarding pretty much destroyed my knee.